Morning, morning, morning all. Let me see, change this here to chat. Okay. Daniela Williams, morning. Rude Trude, morning to you. J Dimple 66, morning. Annette Baird, morning to you. Morning, Roxanne. Yes, Roxanne, you're late. Thank you for my brooms, though, as always. Cyril Mayas, morning, sir. Buenos dias to you. So we have here Ria Ed, morning. Ruben Rogers, Althea, morning. Point Commander Sharon, morning to you. Lennox Ramdani, morning, sir. Neil Francois, always pleasant, always present, sorry, and I'm sure pleasant too. Morning to you, Glenn Richardson, Deborah Duranti, Karen Spooner, morning, guys. Kathy Ann Bess, Sedena Kwashi, morning. Sedena Leon Joseph, morning to you. Marlon Blaze, morning, sir. John Keto, Natalie F. Good morning, Alana Gonzalez, Pauline Buckmeyer, morning, Pauline, all the way out from Florida. Leon Graves, morning, Pamela O'Connor, Leon Joseph. Leon says they're having lovely weather in Toko. We're having some bipolar weather down on my side here. The rains just came after some hot sun, but we need the rain. Almost to the end of the official rainy season, and we haven't really got the kind of rains that we need. I think with the exception of Hillsborough Reservoir in Tobago, all the others are below, well, all the Trinidad reservoirs are below 50%. So, yeah, we need the rain. Kathleen 67289, morning. Priscilla Holder, Mikkel, morning to all of you. Leon says we understand the assignment in voting in the PNM in 2025. Yes, Leon, I saw Threads, which is Facebook's version of Twitter, was lit up yesterday with persons in the US indicating that they completed the assignment, persons who have voted for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. So it augurs well and it continues. So let's see how that goes. I think it's just 9 days or so left before the US election. So for those of you who are listening and who may be citizens of the US, so you're entitled to vote in the US, we hope that you have already completed your assignment or that you intend so to do. Holly Legol, morning. Marlene Panton, morning, Marlene. Marlene says it's raining, rain is falling in La Joqueta. Angie Sherry, Jennifer Ashby Okuli, morning. Who do we have on Facebook? Let's see. Carol Myers, morning, Carol. Carol, I'd rather ask what kind of weather you have on your side. Gemma White Isaac, morning, Diane Charles, morning, Diane. Harold Lee, morning, sir. Sarah Richards, morning. Carol says the sun is out, but she's hearing thunder. Well, I mean, the rain probably coming by you shortly. Oh, that's thunder from on my side. Sharon Williams, morning. What's this? Donald Griffith. Ruth Fronted, morning, guys. Alison Samuel, morning, Alison. Jennifer Nathan, morning, Jennifer. Good morning to His Excellency, President of Pleasantville, President of the Republic of Pleasantville, Nigel O'Connor, and First Lady Marcia Kagan. Jonathan Carr, morning. Angela Kati, morning. Denise Cummings, morning to you. Theophilus Lockheed, morning, sir. Demetri McEwen, morning. Anadai Dulba, morning. Marilyn Wanza Gloud, morning to you. Agnes Mondesir, morning. Let's see who else is there. Christopher Coffey, Claudius Alexander from Labray, morning to you guys. Arthur James, morning. Hazel Mike. Brian Deming, morning, sir. Rebecca Andel George, Cecilia Civilian, Bernadine Andal de Jocelyn, morning to you. Morning, Bernadine. Ruth Frontin, Ashlyn Robinson, Marva James, Marcia Collins, Deborah Edgell, morning, guys. Like Nigel said, they didn't pay for the rain at that side. Come down, Nigel, pay all your bills. Boy. Well, we will send some. We'll send some from this side for you guys on credit. Dimitri McEwen says Hudson and Tobago, so that is good weather for Tobago Carnival, which seems to be doing pretty well. You know, we are not eaters on this side. When it's good, it's good. We don't call good bad. But again, the supporters continue to badmouth Trini, and most of the revelers are from Trinidad, right? But still, Shell Hadara Lambert, what's the Shell? Yeah. Morning to you, Denise Reed. Carl says Irene is here finally. Claire Irish, morning to you. Pamela David, morning. It's 11:22. Let me jump into it. I don't want to get this here. Let's get this. Right, so last night the PNM held their Diwali celebrations. Well, I was minded to attend, but then, it didn't work out. Gavin Harrison, Anne-Marie Billy, Marlene Wilson McNeil, morning. Yes, Marlene says, let God reign. And yeah, but from the pictures and videos that I've seen, it appears that it was well attended, and it was a pretty good production. So well done to the PNM, and it just goes to show that contrary to what those on the other side want to talk about, the PNM is a black man party and a black man party. The PNM is an all-inclusive party. All right, so yeah. So in the politics side of things now, we see the old, decrepit, discarded politicians from the UNC have decided that they want to try and make a comeback, because they recognize that nobody of integrity, as Rodney Charles says, wants anything to do with the UNC. And so we would have had Vasan Barrett first a couple of months ago indicating that the political leader of the UNC would have reached out to him, and he has decided to come back in the fold and to help the party to see if they could wrest power from the PNM in 2025. Others are now jumping on the bandwagon. Jack Warner indicated last week that he is inclined, if the leader would have him, to contest a seat at 81 years old, with not as much strength and vitality that he had in 2010, and certainly not as much money that he had in 2010. He wants to come back and throw his hat into the political ring for yet another time, having hung up his political gun belt several occasions. Every time he loses, that's it, I'm done with politics. And then he wakes up one day and has an epiphany and decides, I want to come out of retirement. Okay? So the latest we have Fuad Khan saying, well, I don't mind if they ask me. I believe I still have something to offer. Fuad Khan, who's on the cusp of 70, he will be 70 shortly. 70, yes. So we have an 81-year-old, a 70-year-old. But the same supporters have a problem with Dr. Rolly being 75 and still in the parliament, but the leader is 72 and want to be there until she's 102. But they have no problem with that. Right? Okay. So apparently the age limit should only apply to the PNM politicians. But if you're in UNC, hey, you could be in a wheelchair. You could be a skeleton and still they will take you. Right. Let me get this here. We see here. So Madam Jolene John, who has been working the La Joqueta Talparo seat since before 2020, even though she lost in 2020 after bringing fridge and stove and all manner of furniture, still continued to work the constituency. But she has decided that she will not, or has indicated that she does not intend to contest the La Joqueta Talparo seat. She will serve as coordinator. But as I said, the devil is in the details. It's not in what she said, but what she didn't say. Because while she said she's not going to contest the La Joqueta Talparo seat, she didn't say she's not going to contest the election. As we know, there are at least 5 seats, 5 UNC stronghold seats that are going to be vacant when the UNC begins their screening vacant, and in the sense that the current MPs don't have a prayer. We're talking about Dinesh Rambali in Chaguanas West, Anita Haynes in Tabakit, Rushton Parry in Mayaro, Rai Ragbear in Komoto Manzanilla, and well, Rodney Charles has indicated that he recognizes that he, the age factor, and he gone. So, and Naparima. So don't be surprised if you see Jolene shows up in any of these 5 seats. Because let's face it, at the end of the day, she don't want to go through the embarrassment again. She knows the kind of work that Foster Cummins is doing in Laucata Talparo, and she doesn't have a snowball chance in hell of winning that seat. Because if you couldn't win in 2020 with fridge and stove and furniture and the like, and probably money too, promise of jobs and all of these different things, in no way you could come now in 2025 with all the work that Foster Cummins has done, is doing, and continues to do in that constituency. And while she chooses to focus primarily on the La Joqueta area, there are other parts, it's La Joqueta Talparo, there are other parts of the constituency. But you see, they figure that La Joqueta is the crown jewel, and if you could get, well, as somebody who would, anyway, I'm going to tell you, La Joqueta really hard. Really, really hard. So if you think you could get La Joqueta Talparo, well, they got it in 2010, but 2010, as we know, was an anomaly, right? But if they feel they could come in 2025 and get it. So I see these political analysts, or whatever you want to call them now, saying that Jack Warner should, let me get this here. Jack Warner should consider running for La Joqueta Talparo. Mr. Warner went up in 2020 in Lopino Bonnet West, his hometown, where he has lived for the majority of his adult life, where he would have put in, I suppose, significant money. He established play park and all kind of thing for the residents in the area. He's done a lot of work there. And he couldn't win that constituency in 2020. I really feel Mr. Warner could win La Joqueta Talparo. How are you doing that? How are you doing that? With money, furniture, appliances? They've been there, done that. It didn't work. So what is he going to do? What? That making any sense? But you have these brilliant political scientists, or political analysts, as they call themselves. Yes, no, huh? Yes, no. Let me see this. Yes, no. Let me just get this here. 1 sec. Where is it? Where is it? No. Yes, no. Where is it? Just now. Give me 1 second. It's so many. I thought I had saved that article. Let me get it. All right. Where is this thing, I know I saved this thing, and I just... Right, here it is. Political analyst says Warner should focus on La Joqueta Talparo instead. Although United National Congress political leader Kamala Prasad-Bissessa is yet to speak on the issue, political analysts are offering different views on how the party could benefit from the possible return of former stalwarts. This week saw Jack Warner, Fuad Khan, Vasan Bharat all expressing a willingness to contest a seat under the UNC's banner in the upcoming general elections. But political analyst Dr. Derek Ramsamouj believes while they can bring value to the party, I don't know what value they could bring, but okay, it would best be served. Gosh, this thing come on. This is will upset me. That's not my folks. Hold on. Let's try that again. These Facebook ads. Come on. Really? Right. It would best be served in a background and mentorship role. He says, I believe the experience of these gentlemen can can bring political benefit in the campaign when it comes to organizing voter support. However, whether you wish to have these gentlemen run in a particular constituency may not be strategically the best way forward if the UNC wants to create a new image for the party. Ramsamuch contends that these men could entice the swing voter or the non-voter to give the UNC another chance. Really? Really? Mm-hmm. Right. To give the UNC their support. All right. They would have a network of supporters in their respective constituencies that can maintain the existing UNC political base, which along with a new type of candidate can bring first-time voters to the polls. Jack Warner has stated his intentions to be candidate for Chaguanas West, a seat he famously wrestled from the UNC in 2013 for the then ILP, which he formed. But Ramsamuch said Warner was adamant about being a UNC candidate. He should focus, that if Warner is adamant about being a UNC candidate, he should focus on bringing home a marginal seat. Which marginal seat? Laukatata Barra is still marginal? Okay. Whether or not someone like Jack Warner considers a different constituency, such as La Joqueta Talparo, can perhaps make a political difference in that constituency. Chaguanas West is irrelevant. Whoever you put in Chaguanas West will win. What you need is someone who can win a seat or two that is currently not in their political column. Which two seats, Mr. Ramsamuch? But Dr. Shane Mohammed, listen to this, Dr. Shane Mohammed said it would be foolhardy to discount the impact the men could have as candidates, given their national gravitas. It sounds like Ralph Maraj did. Dr. Khan, Fuad Khan that is, has a pristine track record in Barataria San Juan, one that is unbeaten, and he kept it from the hands of the PNM. Therefore, when a man has that acumen behind his name, he is not to be discarded, Mohammed contended. Somebody tell this political fool who considers himself to be a political analyst, right? Do your research and know your history before you come and talk nonsense. Okay? In 2007, Fuad Khan was beaten for the Barataria San Juan seat by the PNM's Joseph Ross. Okay? You didn't need to go and Google it. Everybody knows Joseph Ross was the member of parliament for Barataria San Juan from 2007 until 2010 when the People's Partnership won. So to come and talk about this unbeaten track record and he was able to keep the seat out of the hands of the PNM. Rock so with that now, Shane Mohammed. Please. Okay? And you are a big political analyst. The political analyst also offered more names which he said could bolster the UNC's appeal. Why don't we think about people like Carlos John, Lindura Udit? Why not? You realize they can't come up with any new names, No new names. Imagine you have heads of chambers of commerce and different entities of the like offering themselves as candidates for the PNM. We saw when they were doing the screening, I think for Point Up also the current head of the Greater San Fernando Chamber, Business Chamber also offered himself. People like that, people like Rishi Sukai and all of them, who was at one time the president of the Chaguanas Chamber and so on. The UNC can't get nobody like that. Nobody like that to come forward and offer themselves to you all. Why is that? Why is it that these people are gravitating to the PNM and not the UNC? Since you all are this great alternative, how come nobody of substance like that coming to you all? Why? Are you only picking up as at a ragtag? Even when you're having your national security or your crime talks, people like Johnny Abraham, man. Mohammed said this next election promised to be a very close one, and therefore the UNC needed all hands on deck, adding that the current cadre of UNC MPs may not command public trust and confidence. I wonder why. You can't expect me to have confidence in a man who won $1 million paid for fraud, conspiracy, misbehavior in public office. But you're still offering him as a candidate to me, and I should vote for you. Okay. I should have trust and confidence in a man who's currently being investigated by the police for human trafficking and prostitution. Should have confidence in a man like that, right? Or maybe I should have confidence in a man fired from not one, but two public utilities company. And the only reason why it wasn't 3 is because they lost office before he could have made his way into number 3. And he would have probably fit in quite well in number 3. Right? Yeah, but that's the type of people I should have confidence in. I should have confidence and trust in a man who is currently being investigated by the police for trying to hide his ill-gotten gains in his mother's bank account as well as in his mother's insurance policies. A man who records would show gave the then Prime Minister 2 checks totaling $135,000, and he can't remember what he gave her the money for. I should have trust and confidence in that. Yeah, okay. But he tells us it will be close. The political analyst said Kamla Persad-Bissessar would be wise to bring them back, as the PNM found success with a similar move. I will leave that there. It will also be viewed by the people that Kamla Persad-Bissessar is not only serious, but she walks the talk and she's able to see how valuable past members can be. They are very much equivalent to those in the PNM like Miss Penny Beckles, Amory Brown, and others who went back into the party. So there could be no harm to the party by bringing in those who have worked and served before, those who I would call the backbone of the party. You see, the fundamental difference is Dr. Rowley didn't call any of these people named Makaram. He didn't tell them country before party, go to hell. He didn't call them all kind of nasty names as traitor and the like, because when Fuad Khan challenged Persad-Bissessar for the leadership of the UNC, the rank and file of the party went to town on him, to the point where when he was doing his lives and so on Facebook, trying to reach out to the people, they were reporting the man's videos, and eventually his page was blocked, and he had to start doing his lives through the Facebook page of Sheen Mohammed, the same Dr. Sheen Mohammed, right? But all of a sudden, he good enough to come back now. When they referred to Vasant Bharat as a knife and fork Indian, an elitist, he's not elitist anymore. He's no longer a knife and fork Indian. They call him that. Yeah, but he got to come back now. And, okay, Mr. Warner, who they had nothing good to say. He's a lager who, he don't discriminate, he thief from every continent, all kind of thing, even though they eat a food, drink a juice, and belch off of the same money during the 1818 deadlock, when he was paying for them, giving them salaries and so on. They were eating ham, lamb, and jam courtesy Jack. The same Jack Warner that she told, clear your name and come back. He cleared his name. But Jack is back. It didn't work last year for they expected to work in 2025. Well, all right. Delusional much? Okay. Continue. Winford James is of a different opinion. James told the Guardian media that the UNC supporters may be wary of the old guard returning. I think Vasant Bharat is capable, but I don't know how well the UNC crowd likes those guys, because they seem to be opportunistic with the way they are moving. I don't know if they came out in support of Persad-Bissessar when they had the internal elections, but now they seem emboldened by Jack, and now they want to come back. He even postulated a reason why Persad-Bissessar has not yet publicly responded to their offer. Kamla cannot be happy with perceived opportunism, even if they had political value in the past. These guys have had their political value eroded through no fault of their own, and now because they have the scent of elections, they are probably thinking Persad-Bissessar does not have candidates of that necessary strength, and she may take them on. James said while Warner can possibly show his worth more in a marginal seat, he again questioned what political value the former National Security Minister can bring to the party. They're not going to lose Shogunas West, so the UNC does not need to use Jack Warner as an electoral weapon. In any event, Jack is heading for 80, so he's not as vibrant. I don't think he can pull the crowd like he did in 2013. So what is he going to do? Come back and talk about, make the mistake, refer to the Minister of Public Utilities as him, her, she. All I know how to stutter, so forgive me, I'm making mistake. That's what you're going to come and talk about. What else does Mr. Warner have to offer? What little is left of his money that hasn't been eaten up in legal fees and trying to avoid being extradited? What else does he have to offer? Right? The shine of Jack, FIFA vice president, that extinguished long time. What else is he going to come and offer? Mr. Warner need to rest himself. Well, they want to bring us at our old people who ain't even sure if they will make a full term, a full 5-year term. Right? Then we need to be having a set of by-election because what? You bring us at a geriatrics. People who should be home cock up their foot in a recliner and looking to make peace with the Lord, while you want to bring them. But then they complaining, they want to extend the retirement age of the public service, and all the young people who coming out from university with the degrees and stuff, they're depriving the young people of getting a promotion and all of that, and young people have to come and wait for how much more years until these people decide to go or until they're dead, and then they will get a promotion. But then all they want to bring back a whole cadre of old men. A whole cadre of old people. I looked at the universe. I've been looking at the PNM Facebook pages and the Facebook pages of some of the members of the Heliconia Foundation and the PNM's Youth League. And I'm seeing videos and pictures of so many young people who have just graduated from the University of the West Indies with their bachelors, who with their masters, and who with PhD and all of that. This is the caliber of people that populate the PNM, right? So the future leadership of the PNM, they have a wide range of people to choose from. Quality people, people of caliber, right? That is what they have. The UNC have that? They have that? Wait. But that's what they want to offer you. Bring back a set of men who in the first and second round were failures, and all of a sudden now they're good? Really? Mr. Basan Bharat, who he's a CIC old boy, I give him credit for that, but come on, man. He was the man who spearheaded the VAT off of 7,000 food items that flopped, and then admitted to the media that nothing else we could do, you know, to bring down the cost of food. But now they want to be singing a different song. Bring him back. Anyway, in the interest of time, we'll talk that another time. I really want to get to Rudal Munilal, right? The story of the week in my estimation. So, anyway, Mr. Munilal. He's not really a doctor in my view. But anyway, let me get him here. Right. So as we know, the Privy Council ruled last week, throughout the case, the appeal of the contractors who would have gotten some sweetheart deals under the People's Partnership, right? Those contractors that are being sued by the estate management development, the estate management was the EMBD, yes. This is the estate management, and I can't remember what the B is for, so forgive me, right? But they're being sued for hundreds of millions of dollars for bid rigging and other types of fraud in the last days leading up to the 2015 general election, when it appeared the writing was on the wall that the People's Partnership was going to lose, and therefore attempts were made apparently to full pockets, to thief money, according to Makandal Daga, to thief money as if they invented it. In all of my 50, 60 years, I have never seen this level of thieving, right? People thieving money as if they have a right to thief. Makandal Daga said that. When did he say that? 2011. 2011, 1 year after they came into office. They wasted no time in thieving. Makandal Daga, who was a part of that administration in the capacity of ambassador to CARICOM, he said that publicly. He has never seen so much thieving in all his 50, 60 years. So if after 1 year they were doing that kind of thing, you can imagine what happened for the next 4, right? So Mr. Munilal in the Newsday last week, Wednesday, in response to the publication of the ruling of the Privy Council, he says the AG and the EMBD are engaged in political persecution. Political persecution, that's what he says. You know, there's always say that. Everybody in the UNC innocent. The PNM, they just come and make up a set of thing and accuse people of all kind of wrongdoing, right? Them innocent. Political persecution, that's what he says. He's looking forward for his day in court to clear his name. Well, I'm going to read some text messages for you just now, right? Hold on. Former Housing Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal has taken issue with a release by the Attorney General and one by the EMBD, the Estate Management Business Development Company, on the Privy Council's refusal to allow a group of contractors to have their complaints of the multi-million-dollar cartel claim against them heard in the Apex Court, in the Appellate Court. The AG and the EMBD issued identical statements on October 22nd. On October 23rd, Munilal described his statement as a desperate act of political persecution. Munilal pointed out that he was not a party to the appeal. Curiously, while I was not a party to those proceedings, both the Office of the Attorney General and the EMBDC, a state company, introduced my name and both state, the appellants and Dr. Munilal, who have avoided filing their respective defenses for approximately 7 years. I take this opportunity to state categorically that I have never avoided filing a defense in this matter. That is further political mischief by two political organizations. He said his defense was prepared years ago. It was prepared years ago, but he didn't file it. He has until November 15th to file it by order of the presiding judge, Justice Frank C. Prasad. Munilal said that given that named companies took action to strike out the claim, it was deemed prudent to await the outcome of those matters which would have impacted the claim by the EMBDC. He added, in fact, remarkably, the lawyers for the EMBDC agreed that filing defenses would be best after the final ruling on those matters. I wish to remind the public that this is a civil claim brought by the Attorney General, a political functionary. And he wants to stress that it's a civil claim, it's not a criminal claim. So he has not been charged with anything. But hopefully, if depending on what the outcome of this matter is, then perhaps criminal charges could then be brought if he and the other contractors are found guilty, right? This is not a criminal matter. This is a case of PNM versus Rudal Munilal. To this day, I have never been questioned or interviewed by the police on any matter related to the EMBDC. In fact, the police is embarrassed by the political manipulation and misleading posturing on this matter. The opposition MP said the civil claim had been the focus of the Prime Minister and his ministers for several years on the political platform and within the Parliament. He added he remains anxious to defend himself in this matter at the appropriate time. Really? All right. This is Rowley's last desperate act of political persecution. I repeat, this was not my application, so the order doesn't affect my defense. Of course, it affects your defense. You say you prepared your defense years ago, but you just had it in a drawer in a desk collecting dust, waiting for the outcome of the Privy Council appeal. So if the Privy Council had thrown out the case, they say, well, all right, this just makes a good reading. They could shred that now. File it. If it is the Privy Council that thrown out the case, well, no biggie. You file it, they make a difference. They just discard it because there is no case to be answered, and therefore it goes for the court to get rid of that. What was your issue? But we continue. He also said the EMBD had not provided audited financial records for 7 years. Several others had already filed their defenses except for contractors TN Ramnath, Motilal Ramhit and Sons Contracting Limited, Fides Limited, and Calco, who on April 30th, appealing a ruling of the Court of Appeal to uphold a judge's refusal to strike out the case against them. So other people filed their defense. He didn't file his own, right? He said he waited until the outcome of the appeal, of which he says he was not a party. Well, if you weren't a party, everybody you're waiting on file your bloody defense. In their ruling, in January, Justice of Appeal Charmaine Pemberton, Peter Rajkumar, and Vashish Kukaram upheld a 2020 decision of Justice James Abood to allow the EMBD's case to proceed. In August of 2020, Abood dismissed preliminary applications by the 5 contractors to have the EMBD detail allegations against them so they could fairly mount their defense or strike out the claims. So they want to know what it is the EMBD have, so we can lie to suit. The substantive lawsuit centers around 12 contracts for the rehabilitation of roads and infrastructure granted to 5 contractors before the September 2015 general election. The contractors TN Ramnath and Company, its CEO Taradath Ramnath, Calco and Motilal Ramhit and Sons Contracting Limited had initiated proceedings against the state-owned special purpose company for the almost $200 million balance owed on their respective contracts. The EMBD countersued the contractors, claiming they conspired with Munilal, former EMBD CEO Gary Parmasa, ex-divisional manager Maru Balu, and engineer Andrew Walker to corruptly obtain the contracts. Also sued by EMBD and Fides Limited, Namalco Construction Services Limited, and LCB contractors. Right? So Munilal says it's a case of political persecution. He shared that on his page 3 days ago. He gets 16 likes, 1 comment, and 6 shares. So it seems even his own supporters not buying that BS. Right? Poor soul. But just as a reminder, right? Let me go back. August 6, 2020, High Court judge rules EMBD matter will go to trial. High Court Justice James Abood has ruled that there is sufficient evidence for a trial to commence in the corruption matter brought by the EMBD against ex-employees, former Housing Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal and 5 contractors. Abood gave his ruling in a virtual hearing on Thursday. And apart from Dr. Munilal, The other defendants are TN Ramnath and Company Limited, Taradat Ramnath, Calco, Motilal Ramhit, and Sons and Contracting Limited. Meanwhile, facing related action are Gary Pamasa, Maro Balrup, Andrew Walker, Fides Limited, Namalco Construction Services Limited, and LCB Contractors. The lawsuit initially filed on November 20, 2017, alleges bribery, breach of fiduciary duty on the part of Dr. Munilal and 3 senior officers of the EMBD, collusion or unlawful means conspiracy and knowing receipt of dishonest assistance. The EMBD also made declarations that the awarded contracts were void after 3 companies filed separate claims for sums allegedly owed to them for road construction works 3 months before the general elections of 2015. The EMBD said the 3 claimants colluded among themselves and with the other defendants in the related action and were involved in an unlawful means conspiracy that led to the award of 12 contracts and the payment of over $300 million for defective and overpriced work. But they complain about the state of the roads. Defective and overpriced work. And we wonder why the roads are the way it is today. It's said the cartel ensured that specific companies were awarded contracts at inflated amounts and received monies that were not due for defective, irremediable, or useless works. Defective, irremediable, or useless works. But procurement, proper procurement, they are the de facto defenders of proper procurement. But you see, the judge said, Justice Abood read from text messages between the defendants which showed discussions to terminate contracts and approve large payouts. The judge said there were numerous individually priced activities where the percentage range between the highest and lowest price tendered by the bidders is identical to 2 decimal points for a significant number of individual items within a group of activities. He also raised concern about the speed at which contracts were awarded, seemingly without tenders committee for at least 6 EMBD contractors. This is Justice Abood speaking here. It seems to me that the events unfolded with such extraordinary rapidity that it might be regarded as emblematic of either very good governance or very bad governance. Based on the primary facts, the prospect of fraud as opposed to innocence or negligence are not equal possibilities to explain the facts and circumstances alleged in the EMBD pleadings. In my opinion, the pleaded case leans heavily towards fraud and conspiracy and away from innocence and negligence. This is Justice Abood saying that. But they might tell you Justice Abood is a PNM. Yeah, he's PNM. So these are his findings. Okay, and he's saying based on the evidence, the preliminary evidence that has been brought up before me, EMBD, I agree, all this need to go to trial. This is what Justice Abood basically said, right? But Munilal telling all it's persecution, political persecution. EMBD is mandated to sublease agricultural state lands, manage and develop lands formerly owned by Caroni Limited, and to develop residential sites on those lands. According to the counterclaims, the awarding and management of massive road building contracts is not part of its mandate. So EMBD was doing things that it was not mandated to do by law. But that was normal. Because remember, under them from 2010 to 2015, the NGC was engaging in works that is responsibility of WASA. NGC giving out contract for Bitam wastewater treatment plant. What NGC had to do with that? Let us not forget that. All kind of thing they had NGC doing the happiness campaign that they spent millions of dollars on, and they spell happiness, the 2 P's in happiness were capital P's, right? PP, People's Partnership. Millions of dollars. NGC again. NGC was the cash cow. They go to. Munilal, let me see here, is running for the Oropuch East constituency in the August 10 general election. On August 3rd, attorneys for the contractors wrote to the court asking that it not publish the judgment on August 6th because of the polls. Why? Well, if you all have some time, I'm going to go into it a little bit today, but if you all have some time, go and Google that judgment and read it. It makes for very, to use Dr. Rowley's term, disturbing reading. Very disturbing reading. So no wonder the attorneys or the contractors did not want to have the judgment published on August 6th because the election was August the 10th. And they didn't want the damning information in that judgment to come out to tarnish the chances of the UNC. Okay, because they needed the UNC to get back into office. Because remember, if the UNC gets back into office in 2025, or if they had gotten back into office in 2020, they could have simply withdrawn the case, right? And they'll come and tell it. The same way the PNM was able to withdraw the case against Malcolm Jones, and they had sufficient reason so to do, right? In this case, they could have done that in 2020. So the contractors say, hey, don't publish that yet, because we don't want this information to come out, and then the people here will all the bacchanal that went on, and then the UNC loses the election. We need UNC to win so they could withdraw this case, and we could breathe a sigh of relief and get money. The hundreds of millions that we're suing for, that we could get it, and we don't have to go through the courthouse. Right? I continue. The matter will commence on August 21st when the defendant's attorneys will respond to the decision. So now that the Court of Appeal and the Privy Council has made its ruling, the Privy Council threw it out. It's now free to go back to Justice Frank C. Prasad, who seems anxious to deal with this matter because he says it's the oldest matter on his docket, over 7 years old, and he is not a judge who likes to leave matters languishing, right? He wants to dispense with it. Now, even if it is that, now let us see, and this is the reason why, and I would have said last week, that Justice C. Prasad needs to zip his lip, right? Because he would have made certain pronouncements last week in respect of Stuart Young, his utterances in the parliament and so on. Albeit he didn't mention Stuart Young's name, but it was easy to determine who he was making reference to, which could give rise to the belief that he may have some partiality to the UNC. And the only reason why this matter is before him and no longer before Justice Aboud is because Justice Aboud was promoted to the Court of Appeal, right? So he's now a higher level judge. So the matter would have been removed from Justice Aboud and was sent to Frank C. Prasad, okay? But C. Prasad is saying it's the oldest matter on his docket and he's anxious to deal with it. So let's see where that goes. But even if, whichever way it goes, there's the opportunity for appeal. So if Munilal and the contractors lose at the High Court level, if Frank C. Prasad rules similar to what Justice Aboud would have ruled, then they could always appeal it to the Court of Appeal and then it will go to the Privy Council. So this thing is far from over, okay? But nevertheless, it ain't looking too good for them, But anyway. So let me just touch this again. So Justice Aboud read from text messages between the defendants which show discussions to terminate contracts and approve large payouts. He goes on to say that based on the primary facts, the prospect of fraud as opposed to innocence or negligence are not equal possibilities to explain the facts and circumstances alleged in the EMBD pleadings. And in my opinion, the pleaded case leans heavily towards fraud, conspiracy, and away from innocence and negligence. Last I checked, fraud and conspiracy are criminal offenses, right? Criminal offenses. I believe the police may still be investigating this matter, but up to 2020, well, up to recently, because what the article I read there just now, Munirala is saying up to now the police have not questioned him, right? 7 years now, and the police ain't questioned him yet. But here it is that you have the judge since 2020 saying, in my opinion, the pleaded case leans heavily on fraud and conspiracy and away from innocence and negligence, right? Okay. Let me get this here. I'm going to read some of these text messages for you, all right? From the very judgment. Understand why it is the contractors and they didn't want this released prior to the election of 2020. The EMBD pleads the instruction given by Dr. Munilal to Mr. Pamasa, and it says here, C, private SMS and iPhone messages and emails passing between Dr. Munilal, Mr. Pamasa, Mr. Ramnath, and Kalko. The EMBD pleads the instruction given by Dr. Munilal to Mr. Pamasa by email on the 19th of March 2015 to include what became C9 amongst the Caroni Roads contracts because it was a road that Kalko wished to undertake, and the subsequent purported award of that C9 contract in July 2015 to Kalko as evidence of wrongdoing. It also pleads the intended or actual involvement of Naeem Ali of Namalco in the preparation of a note for cabinet on the Caroni Roads as evidence of wrongdoing. So the contractor prepared, it says here, the involvement of the contractor in the preparation of a cabinet note. Where you ever hear that? I thought the preparation of cabinet notes was the responsibility of the technocrats in the ministry, but the contractor assisting and preparing the cabinet notes, I wonder how much involvement the contractor had in that. Anyway, we continue. What follows are the pertinent messages from October 2014 to September 2015, upon which the EMBD relies in its pleadings. I must point out that these messages are pleaded as matters of fact and not inference. As defenses have not been filed, they are uncontradicted, and CPR processes will determine their usefulness at trial. Right? So in other words, they're still waiting for the defenses of Mr. Munilal and the rest for them to deny and say, well, no, we never said that, and I don't know where that message come from and whatnot. Message number 1. Mr. Parmasar to Dr. Munilal on the 25th of October 2014. Minister, good afternoon. Thank you very much for the private meeting and the confidence you have placed in me thus far. It is greatly appreciated and I am honored to be a part of your team. Thank you again very much. Message number 2, Parmasar to Munilal, 3rd of November 2014. Morning, Chief. I trust you had a good weekend. I was just asked to make arrangements for interviews for the position of CEO of the EMBD. Dylan McKenzie, off the record, told me that he has to meet with the chairman to do the shortlist. I am asking for your assistance in this matter as I would like to be the chosen person. You know, I am willing and ready to work with you in getting the job done. Any assistance in making this happen will be greatly appreciated. Dr. Munilal replied, noted. So that's how we hire people now. That's it. No, yeah. We here make a short list, but a man send a WhatsApp message to the minister and say, well, I already working on, so what can do for me, right? What can do for me? You know, I am a member of the team, so if you make me the CEO, whatever, what you say, happening. If you say write a check, I write a check. You say give a man a contract, I'm doing it. Give me the work. Munilal said, he didn't say, well, you know, I can't do that. That is not the procedure. We have processes and procedures in place to hire the best person, and we will go through a series of interviews and whatnot. And no, he said, noted. Right. I'll get back to you. Noted. Message number 3, Mr. Parmasar to Dr. Munilal. 5 messages. 1st December 2014. Afternoon, I am told your instructions are to terminate KJS from the 2 sites he is on. Can you confirm? This is a reference to the Exchange 3 and Picton 3 sites. Dr. Munilal's reply is not known. So Mr. Parmasar continues. I don't IDK. I wanted to bring him to the table to discuss a way forward for both parties, but was told no discussing, and this was your instruction. He has a dispute with us about a 43% rate increase amounting to about 13 million. Of the surplus, we have 148 million remaining. How should I proceed with this KGS matter? Chair wants to do termination letter tomorrow latest. Mr. Parmasar to Dr. Munilal on the 3rd of December 2014. I enjoyed the line last night and it was an honor to hear you say I am the newest member of the crew. On Saturday, I would like you to meet my wife. Papa Laps. Dr. Munilal to Mr. Parmasar. Need 25 million for Ramhit on Felicity project and 10 million for Calco. Says Munilal to Parmasar. Text messages between Parmasar and Munilal. Mr. Parmasar, document for Ramhit being prepared. Problems with Calco as its variations that was not approved. Chairman told me I am not to make any payment to him. Chair also told me to tell you he is instructing me not to pay. Dr. Munilal to Calco. Mr. Parmasar, yes to Calco. Dr. Munilal, what about Ramhit? Mr. Parmasar, payment will be ready in the morning. It went for 1 signature and the engineer given me certificate also. Daniel has checked but wants to see a certificate first. Dr. Munilal, good. Dr. Munilal, send a check for me to give to Ramhit tomorrow. Mr. Parmasar, will so do. Since when Minister collecting check to deliver to contractors? This is what is in the judgment here. Right? I'm reading here. Text messages. But of course, Munilal never filed, they haven't yet filed their defenses. So they wanted to get the information so they could respond accordingly. Right? So it'd be interesting to see But I just asking minister collecting check to carry for contractor. That's how it is work. I thought when the check is ready, the ministry will contact the contractor and let them know, well, look, so the check is ready, and a representative will come, or the contractor come himself, you collect the check, you sign for it. But apparently, the ministers under the PP were playing Korea. Ministers at your doorstep. Well, all right. Text messages exchanged between Munilal and Pamesa on January 3rd, 2015. Dr. Munilal, need to pay Calco some money. Mr. Pamesa, okay, chief. I think we can form a 4 million. Dr. Munilal, that is safe. Give me the check Monday. Prepare check. We'll have to confirm. But I know he submitted invoice for that amount. Mr. Pamesa, will do. Text message between Dr. Munilal and Mr. Pamesa. Dr. Munilal, sandpit in Milton, Couva. You know about that? Mr. Pamesa, it is a new sandpit we are exploring for the idea of opening. Dr. Munilal, want to lease the Ramhit and Calco. Mr. Pamesa, understood. But we now make an application, so it is still some time off. But I will accelerate. Dr. Munilal, fast forward. Mr. Pamesa to Dr. Munilal, Chief, good night. As you see, I don't really ask for much, but I am asking for assistance in obtaining a single unit family home in Egypt and HTC housing development in Egypt village known as Oasis Green. Asgar has all my info, but I will also send to you. Any assistance would be greatly appreciated. That's how it is doing. That's how it's got HTC house. There are people waiting 20, 30, 40 years since the days of NHA. But a man sent out WhatsApp, Chief, you know, I don't really ask so much about my little HTC house now. It's just there, right? Remember, they didn't want this released before the election of 2020. Mr. Pamasata, Dr. Munilal, my reference number is, and he quote the reference number, application name, Gary Pamasa, Oasis Green, Egypt Village. Unit 2, 118, 119, 120, or 122 if possible. Thanks. Dr. Munilal, you want a house? Mr. Pamasa, yes. Mr. Pamasa to Dr. Munilal, January 26, 2015. Gentle reminder about the house. Text message between Pamasa and Mr. Ramnath. Oh, Lord. You want a house? Yes. All right. And the man specified which unit, sir. So he probably went and he looked. Unit 2, 118, 119, 120, or 122 if possible. I went and I take a drive around and I saw, and these are the ones that I like. So help me out now. Mr. Pamasa to Dr. Munilal, right? Gentle reminder about the house. Text message between Mr. Pamasa and Mr. Ramnath on the 10th of February 2015. Mr. Pamasa, my reference number is so. Application name Gary Pamasa, Oasis Greens, Egypt Village. Any one of these units, number 2, 118, 119, 120, or 122 if possible. Thanks in advance. Got call. Have to collect package tomorrow. Mr. Ramnath. My friend, great. We on the inside. EMBD alleges that the package refers to the interview package issued by the HTC to successful applicants. So it seems that Mr. Pamasa, GT, get through. Mr. Pamasa to Dr. Munilal. And this is, right, so he was collecting the package. He made the request when? On the first request was made on the 21st of January, right, when he asked Munilal. And then we see in here on the 10th of February, which was 3 weeks later. Yeah. Let's see, 21st. So that's 20 days later, almost 3 weeks later, he get through. Yeah. Collect the package tomorrow, which was the 11th. Yeah, so 3 weeks later, he get through. You know, I have people waiting donkey years, right? But they were offering the people in Port of Spain, East Port of Spain, pay $100 and take that old decrepit apartment now. Goes on, right? Should be sending you 3 draft notes today. Sandpit, fence line, and estate roads, 100 million. Text message between Mr. Ramnath and an HTC officer that was forwarded to Mr. Pamasa's phone by Mr. Ramnath. Hi, Gary. Hi, Gary Pamasa have been successful for his appointment on the 20th of February, 9 a.m. I'm asking that be rescheduled to the 25th due to an unexpected commitment. Thanks, all the best for the carnival. Leaving for about 10 days. Will be back and will contact you when I am back. Okay, no problem. Enjoy. Series of text messages sent by Mr. Parmesa to Mr. Ramnath on currently unknown project. What should we expect tomorrow? Hostile or cordial? Sent email. Spoke to the chief on the matter. He said he will advise on what will happen. Before any award is done, one is done at all, he will advise. But he appreciated me pointing out the exposure. The word chief and boss, the word chief and boss are often used to describe Dr. Munilal. Text messages between Mr. Parmesa and Mr. Ramnath exchanged with regard to the HTC unit, 25th of February to the 4th of March, show Mr. Parmesa sending reminders of his application reference number and the preferred house allocation. Mr. Ramnath would work on it. See you later. Two such replies to Mr. Parmesa. Mr. Parmesa, all my documents have been submitted to HTC. Mr. Ramnath, good. We'll follow it up now. Send the numbers, all well. Otherwise, Mr. Parmesa, all good. Working on the important documents needed. Dr. Munilal to Mr. Parmesa, we have concerns about exchange 3. Let's talk later. Mr. Parmesa, okay, no problem. Dr. Munilal to Mr. Parmesa, also prepare note for roads. Roads, I don't know what that is. Liaise with Naim. EMBD alleges that the last 3 words are liaise with Naim, who is the principal of Namalco. Text exchange between Mr. Parmesa and Mr. Ramnath on the 10th of March 2015 morning, showing the wife the number I choose. If possible, of the 5 numbers, 187 is the first preference. The invitation should be ready for X3 today. Mr. Ramnath, the only way you can get that is if it already taken. HGC is checking availability. Right now, we'll advise ASAP and appreciate all for X. EMBD alleges that X refers to the Exchange 3 project. Mr. Parmesa, thanks a lot for everything. Mr. Ramnath, okay man, we on the same team, but me and N should get something lang or vase for a man like you. Okay. EMBD alleges that N refers to and Lang and Val refer to 2 upscale suburban neighborhoods in Lange Park and Valsey. Papa Laps. Mr. Parmesa, that will be nice and appreciated, but what I look at now also satisfy immediate need. Wife is 4 months pregnant. Mr. Ramnath, sorry. If that is a problem, rent the best apartment. I pay in 1 year upfront. You have to talk with me. Lots of ideas for helpful folks like you, Mr. Parmesa. Appreciate it, but we prefer this for now and then move up. Also, our parents, thanks for the offer though, Mr. Ramnath. Text message between Dr. Munilal and Parmesa. Dr. Munilal, need small payment for Mainway and LCB. Tell me how much before, Mr. Parmesa. Okay, we'll prepare. I can make payment of 5 million each, Dr. Munilal. Yes, prepare check and send to me. Text message, prepare check and send to me. Any second time, he asking for check. He's a courier. I wonder if his leader, his prime minister, know about that he playing, right? He was doing a different type of shuttle work. Right? So when Teotong doing shuttle work to try and negotiate with Washington, Caracas, Port of Spain, so that we could get natural gas to boost the country's financial position. The shuttle work he doing is to pick up check and go and drop off for contractors. But they have plenty to say about Teotong, and Teotong must go, but they must stay. Put them back. We must trust them. Have trust and confidence in them according to. Text message between Parmesa and Munilal. Mr. Parmesa, minor works in Picton 3 to tender and semi-major works in Hermitage to do tendering. Munilal, invite Calco and Fides for Hermitage and Picton. That's how they do procurement, right? Send a message to the minister and he telling you which company to invite. Okay. Proper procurement, yes. We laid the procurement regulations and the procurement law in Parliament in 2013, and the PNM gutted it and they watered it down and all of that. Yeah, that's how they were doing procurement. 2013, they brought that bill. We'll put them back. Text message received by Mr. Parmesa from a number saved in his mobile phone address book as Namalco. find time and you and I talk to the boss on my matter. EMBD alleges that the T refers to, all right, so you and T refers to Mr. Ramnath and Mr. Pamasa, text message on the same day. I really appreciate you and N accepting me as one of the boys and ensuring my good faith with the boss. Of course, the boss refers to Dr. Munilal. Right. Mr. Ramnath replied to Mr. Pamasa, my friend, you deserve no less. I want before we leave to tell the boss to confer or to conference you in your presence, or to whatever that means. 14th of April 2015, the date of the approval of the award of Exchange 3, text message between Pamasa and Ramnath. Congrats, approved, Mr. Ramnath. Great, thanks for all your support, Mr. Pamasa, my pleasure. April 17, 2015, the date of the award, text message between Pamasa and Munilal, Mr. Pamasa. TN on his way to collect letter of award, Dr. Munilal, send the letter to me in Parliament. I will give him myself. What is the value of the work, Mr. Pamasa? 167 million. So again, Mr. Munilal playing Korea. He in Parliament, but send it to me, I will drop it off for myself, you know. Yeah. Let us not follow the proper channels. Text message between Pamasa and Ramnath. Thanks again for the invitation yesterday. Felt honored. Also, thanks for everything thus far, Ramnath. No problems, my friend. You are one of the boys. April 26. There was a ceremony for those moving into Oasis Green on 25th April. Mr. Pamasa messaged Dr. Munilal. Collecting keys tomorrow. Should I be part of ceremony or attend and collect keys privately after ceremony? Dr. Munilal replied, don't collect keys tomorrow. On 18th May 2015, after the invitation to tender on Picton 3rd, a residential development were issued, but before the bids were submitted, text exchange between Ramnath and Pamasa. Kendall said, I should let you know I want to proceed with the air-conditioned units. He needed your go-ahead. Ramnath, please convey to him he gave my approval. Please convey to him he have my approval. We're meeting tomorrow with the boss also. Engineer estimate. Pamasa, okay, no problem. Guy should be finalizing estimate tomorrow. Ramnath, great. Okay, thanks. See you at Royal Hotel, 11:30 a.m. Pamasa, hi. Any word on the estimate? Pamasa, getting it in the morning. This might be a reference to the PTE. Exchange between Ramnath and Pamasa. What about Picton? You gave the instruct? Pamasa, having that discussion now. Ramnath, great, thanks. Let's see here. Where the others with text message between Ramnath and Pamasa on the 2nd of September 2015, 3 days before the general election. Ramnath, how are you and the boss? How are you? The boss asked me to send you this. Junior 20. EMBD alleges that Junior refers to Junior Sami. And it goes on here to say, alleges that chain, okay. I mean the money anyway, I just following instructions. Let's hope we get it tomorrow. Pamasa, okay, I hope tomorrow. Folks, this makes a very disturbing reading, right? As I said. So, but the judgment is there. You all can read it. It's on, it's on the High Court of Justice, TN Ramnath and Company Limited, and the EMBD, and Taradath Ramnath Calco Limited, Estate Management and Business Development Company Limited, Mutila Ramhit and Sons Contracting Limited, Estate EMBD, and Rudal Munilal, Gary Pamasa, Maru Balrup, Andrew Walker Fides Limited, Namalco LCB Contractors Limited as the defendants. Right? So we see kind of, so I would love to be a fly on the wall to be able to take a peep into Munilal's defense. But he might give us a Glenn Ramadas Singh. You all remember when Glenn Ramadas Singh left his phone at a bar, allegedly in Central, after a night of frolic and a little too much libation, and somebody found his phone, went through it, saw text messages, allegedly between himself and Bagamoni man, messages that were some 2 and 3 years old. The phone found its way into the hands of the media. The media called, allegedly, it was reported, called Mr. Mr. Man to ask him about the text messages. He said the phone is mine, but me I know nothing about no text message. They say, but some of these text messages are over 2 years old. I say I don't know nothing about no text message, right? How I could get back my phone, please? Okay, where is it? Can I let me know when I could come and get it? All right. So you might well, I don't know nothing about no text message. Where they get that from? Where they get it from? Okay. Well, let's see if Mr. Parmesan got his house in Oasis Greens, because his wife was 4 months pregnant and there was offering house in Valsine and all kind of thing. Say, well, we're gonna settle for this for now, right? So let me establish this one first. See, that's how it close to the election now. Because remember, they had nice houses in Valsine too, where this guy lives, Keyshawn Walcott. They had given Keyshawn Walcott 2 houses after he won the gold medal in 2012, right? So nice areas. Like they went again one day to say, well, let me give me this one first now. And then if anything later on down the road, okay, give me a second one. So 2 better than 1, right? Again, Rural Munilal is on record. 2015, when he was challenging Kamla Prasad Bisesa for the position of leadership of the party after they lost. During one of his public meetings, he said, people in the UNC say, me do nothing. I ain't help nobody. I ain't help no UNC people. And then he went on to say, talk about how he gave a house to the son of the then mayor of Chaguanas. And on the key date for the key distribution, he tell the fella, don't bother to come up and collect no keys, right? Because people will know who you are. And right, so you just relax yourself. You could come and witness. Afterwards, you hand you the key and your package and everything, right? It don't matter. You don't need to come up and flam. You still get in your house and you get in your key. Now, based on who the mayor of Chaguanas was at that time, clearly, his son ought not to have qualified for any HCC house because that mayor pocket deep, but he get the house anyway. You know, Jayanti Lakshmidiyal also got a house. Senator Jayanti Lakshmidiyal also got a house, an HCC house, which she no longer lives in. And it was reported that, I think she may have said it, that she has since disposed of that home. And from what was reported, allegedly, it was sold for far more than what it was purchased for. Again, taking into consideration that you have persons who have been on the HCC NHA waiting list longer than Jayanti Lakshmidiyal has been alive. But she was able to get a HCC house while these people, some of them still rented. Some of them have passed away and still weren't able to get their HCC house. But they want to talk about the PNM. I know the PNM this, when they were giving away 100 houses a week, who were they giving those houses to? Houses that they didn't build. Who were they giving it to? And you see, when they come, oh, we have a lottery and we this and that. BS. BS. You see how houses were being given away? But the Lion of Oropuch, as he likes to call himself, he is the pillar of virtue. He does no wrong. He'll get up in the parliament and have the worst of things to say, and he accusing everybody of wrongdoing. But he is in the parliament. They had plenty to say about Malcolm Jones. Malcolm Jones never thief no money. I was listening to this bald-headed clown in the Senate a few days ago, talking about Malcolm Jones and how they withdraw the case against Malcolm Jones and all of that. And because Malcolm Jones was who partner and who partner. Rubbish. The fact of the matter is that it is on record. The 2 attorneys that the People's Partnership retained to get their opinion, their professional opinion, was King's Counsel, then Queen's Counsel Vincent Nelson, and Senior Counsel Russell Martino. And both men are on record as having said that there were 2 critical pieces of information that Malcolm Jones was going to be relying on for his defense, which were, 1, the judgment in the arbitration between WGTL and Petrotrin, which Petrotrin won, which judgment basically said that WGTL was at fault in the collapse of that whole arrangement for the gas to liquids plant. And WGTL was ordered to make payment and restitution to Petrotrin. The other thing was the witness statements of 2 of Petrotrin's former board members who served in Malcolm Jones. And they are Mr. Chantak and Ms. Batiste, right? Those 2 witness statements were very critical in the very same arbitration between Petrotrin and WGTL, which assisted Petrotrin in winning the arbitration matter. But none of that was given to Mr. Nelson or Mr. Martino. And both men are saying, had they received those two pieces of correspondence, the arbitration judgment and the witness statements, the advice to the government then would have been different. They would have been inclined to tell the government, hey, forget that, because you see what we see in here, this man has reasonable prospects of winning this case. So don't bother to go down that road to sue him. And questions must be asked. Why did they not give those two pieces of correspondence? Why did the Office of the Attorney General under Anand Ramlogan not provide that information? It is only when this administration came in and Faris Al-Rawi became Attorney General that the information was provided to the same two attorneys. It is also instructive to note that Faris Al-Rawi retained the same legal team that Anand Ramlogan had hired to sue Malcolm Jones, the same legal team. The only difference was that one of the lawyers, Varun Debedine, another UNC-affiliated lawyer, would have given back the brief, again, I think because of some dispute between he and the AG or some bacchanal, so what needless to say. But they retained all the other lawyers who advised Petrotrin to drop the lawsuit. And that legal team included none other than Gerald Ramdeen. So that when the legal team advised Petrotrin to withdraw the lawsuit against Malcolm Jones, Ramdeen was part of the team. There is nowhere have I been able to find any statement or any issues raised on the part of Ramdeen saying that he doesn't support this, right? The same legal team, because now they were in possession of documents and information that they were not before provided. So it is a reasonable conclusion to draw that the reason why the information was not provided to these two learned attorneys is because they would have come to the conclusion that Mr. Jones had a very strong case, the same information, the same witness statements that were presented in the arbitration that assisted Petrotrin in winning the case may have helped Mr. Jones also to win his case. But if it is that you want to be able to pay plenty briefs, $1 million briefs, so that you could get a kickback, you would withhold certain information because as senior counsel yourself, you must know. Yeah, boy, this man have a case here, If I get them fellas this information, they will say, nah, don't bother. And that's a big lawsuit. We can make some serious monies there. Hold back that. Don't get them that. Get them that and that. Right? But they do ever talk about that part. That was reported in the news, in the media. That information, up to now, none of them have been able to explain why that information was withheld. Critical information. So much so that Malcolm Jones had to file a freedom of information request. He and his attorneys had to file a freedom of information request to get that information. The witness statements of Chantak and Batiste and the arbitration ruling, which basically said that Malcolm Jones was not culpable. Right? And these witness statements of these two former board members basically said that it was a board decision, right? And that it wasn't a case of negligence. It was just a bad business decision. Because if it is the plant had panned out the way it was supposed to, right? Then that might have been able to save the refinery. But WGTL didn't do good work. They didn't follow through on their side of the agreement. And therefore, Petrotrin ended up being saddled with the total cost of the project. But again, had the project worked, had it been successful, right? Because there was a need, part of one of the things that the project, I think, was supposed to do, if memory serves me correctly, it would have been producing a certain type of diesel with less sulfur in it, right? And all of these things because they were saying that this type of diesel was needed in the region and the like, and it would have been a very profitable venture for Petrotrin. It just didn't work out. Right? WGTL St. Lucia didn't do what they were supposed to do. There was issues with the plant itself and whatnot and stuff and all of that. Structural issues and stuff that challenged the thing. But the arrangement put Petrotrin in a position where in order to save the project, Petrotrin had to end up taking up the slack and paying the money that WGTL was supposed to put in and didn't. But they don't ever go into the granular details of what happened. And what we hear is Malcolm Jones. And I keep making the point, Malcolm Jones was an executive chairman, but there is still a board in place. So if it is as they want to contend that Malcolm Jones made these decisions on his own, why is it that there are minutes showing the board discussing this issue. If Mr. Jones made the decision on his own, then why did he have board meetings? And the minutes would show that it was the board that made the decision, not Mr. Jones. And I always ask the question, why did they go after Malcolm Jones alone and not the entire board, as they did with ETech? When they sued the board of ETech for some $5 million US that was invested in something called some bamboo network or some kind of thing, so and it went sour. And they sued the whole board, including Ken Julian and Wendy Fitzwilliam and the like and whatnot. Why? But they sued Malcolm Jones alone. And Mr. Jones, unfortunately, passed away before the matter could have been heard. Or I don't know if it is his attorneys would have gotten. But you all let us also remember that the UNC was telling us the 2 witness statements will prove that the decision to withdraw the Malcolm Jones case was politically motivated. They went to the High Court to get the witness statements. They get blank. They went all the way to the Privy Council, and the Privy Council said, yeah, get them it. Send it back to the local courts for it to be adjudicated upon. Dr. Oli said, you see me, this thing has gone too far. They say they want the witness statements, and the witness statements will prove that my government's decision to withdraw the case was politically motivated. Forget the court. He instructed. It was himself, Faris Al-Rawi, and Franklin Khan was on the stage. And Dr. Oli indicated to Mr. Khan, instruct Petrotrin, give them the witness statements. We don't need to drag this thing out in the court no more. When the media, prior to Dr. Oli giving those instructions, when the media interviewed Faris Al-Rawi, Faris said, I would love to give them the witness statement, but I can't. That is a decision for Petrotrin to make. I cannot dictate Petrotrin's piece because under the Companies Act, Petrotrin is an independent company and they cannot cede their fiduciary responsibility to me. I can't make that decision. All right? So, but yet still, that is what happened under the PP. When Petrotrin ceded its fiduciary responsibility to the Attorney General to sue Malcolm Jones under section, I think, 66 and 90 or 99 of the Companies Act. So they were in breach of the law, and the Attorney General facilitated that breach of the law. But again, they don't talk about that. Don't talk about that, right? But Malcolm Jones, and Faris said, but the day we released those 2 witness statements, heaven help the UNC. Those were Faris's words. Heaven help the UNC. The day those 2 witness statements are released. Dr. Rowley instructed Franklin Khan to instruct the board of Petrotrin release the statement, give it to them, right? Following Privy Council's ruling, now we don't go and type this thing in the court no more and drag it out. They got the 2 witness statements in June of 2019. We are now in October of 2024. For a whole year, we was hearing about these 2 witness statements, and these 2 witness statements are approved. They got it since June of 2019. You all heard anything further? That's what they told us. They got the 2 witness statements, and the only thing we heard after that was when we saw the lucky Ravi Balgobin Maraj, the man that Anand Ramlogan loves to use every time they have foolishness like that to run in the courthouse. The media caught up with him outside the waterfront where the Integrity Commission is, and he said, well, he has the 2 witness statements here, and he and his lawyers went through it, and they are satisfied that it was politically motivated, and he going and drop off the documents at the Integrity Commission. We heard nothing further. No press conference to read out the contents of the witness statement and say, see, we tell all you, it was politically motivated, and this is the part that says, and this is the part. Nothing. Kamla went silent, Ramlogan went silent, Munilal went, every last one of them. All of a sudden, they develop a severe case of PIP on that matter. So the population 5 years later still waiting. 5.5 years later, we still waiting to hear about this, the contents of this witness statement that for over a year we were hearing would prove that the decision to withdraw the Malcolm Jones case was politically motivated. We still waiting. In fact, I recall back then I was on 91.9, and there was a fella who used to call in a pro UNC